What's up, guys? Today we're going to be looking at the Galaxy S23 Plus. This is a very interesting flagship device to consider here in 2024. I wouldn't necessarily call this an old flagship at all. But yeah, so this phone is pretty interesting because it's at a pretty somewhat decent price at around like $500 in the used refurbished marketplace here. And depending on if you get it locked or unlocked, the prices will vary, but typically you'll see it for like $459, $500. So this is a very interesting color. You can see here, got the lavender color here. It's a little bit of a darker purple than what you're seeing on the screen. But yeah, overall, I really do like the design on here as well too. Very nice premium feel on here as well. So this phone, it is IP68 dust and water resistant. Of course, you got the full glass and metal design. And what a lot of people like about these phones, these plus size phones, is that they're easier to hold than the Galaxy. Let's say if you're looking for like a Galaxy S23 Ultra, that's going to be really boxy. This is way easier to hold. It's much more comfortable since it curves on the edges. So that's definitely something that a lot of people, really like. Now the display is pretty good on this device. It's a 6.6-inch display, and then you also do have really nice bezels on here. I believe 87.6% screen to body ratio on here, so you get really nice bezels. And then also, it's a classic Samsung display, dynamic AMOLED, 120 Hz HDR10 plus. You also have the 1750 nits peak brightness on here as well too. 1080p resolution at 393 for the PPI. Overall, it's a beautiful panel here, so no issues at all with the screen. And like I said, what a lot of people like about these, the Plus phones, is that they don't have a curve to them, so it's a completely flat panel, as you guys can see here. And yeah, absolutely really love the screen on here. Alright, so as far as software, we are running the One UI 6 update here. So of course we got all of the Galaxy AI features on here, and like I said, the only thing you'd be missing is like the S Pen features. But most people, if you're buying this phone, you don't really care about the S Pen, so that's pretty much why this phone exists. But you pretty much have everything in here that you would have on an S24, so that's really nice. You get all the Galaxy AI features. Now the only difference here with the software is that the S23 series in general, I don't think it gets the 7 years of MajorOS updates. I think that's only for the S24 lineup and up. So this, I believe, still will fall under the 4 or 5 years of updates. So definitely take that into consideration. So this phone still has quite a bit more updates to go. So I believe it should get up to like Android 17 or 18. But as far as the software wise, again, really fast on here. No issues at all with this One UI update. It's been really pleasant to use here. All right, let's talk about the overall experience here with gaming. Of course, it's going to be fantastic, but the Snapdragon 8 Gen 2 processor on here has been pretty good. So what I like about the S23 Plus is the base model. You get 256 gigs of internal storage, which is always nice, and then you also get that 8 gigs of RAM. So when it comes to playing games, like Call of Duty and stuff like that, whether you're playing PUBG, you can play, at 90 frames, great settings, and have no problem. But this phone really does not heat up at all. I've never had any type of heating problems with this phone, so I've always been really happy with the performance on here. Turn this up so you guys can hear. Ooh. Now, it will get like a little bit warm, like back here where this camera is, but it's nothing where it's actually uncomfortable. So that's why I said this processor is pretty good for the most part. And you can definitely play games on here. So like I said, this is a phone, it feels no different than the S24. About these speakers at max volume. So you guys can hear just a ton of bass, super clean sounding speakers. Absolutely love the speakers on the S23 series in general. The biometrics on here are excellent as well too, as you would expect. Really good for the fingerprint sensor, and the face unlock is excellent as well too. Alright, so let's talk about the cameras on the S23 Plus. You have a 50 megapixel standard and a 10 megapixel telephoto with 3x optical, and you get a max zoom of 30. And then you also have a 12 megapixel ultra wide 8K 24 and 30 video with a 12 megapixel selfie that shoots in 4K 60. These are really good cameras, guys. They still pretty much take the same photos that you would see on an S24. There's very little difference here. You get excellent detail, really good color on here. The zoom photography is actually pretty good. I mean, the 10 times did a pretty decent job. It's not, of course, as good as like the Ultra, but it does a pretty decent job as well too. So you can just see these photos are just super crispy. Absolutely love the S23's cameras. The video is also really good on here as well too. So overall, I think you'll be really impressed with the video, cameras, and also low light photography was pretty decent on here as well. This camera is going to excel in pretty much all areas. It's a really good camera. Then you pack it on with Samsung software, being able to do the expert RAW, Pro Mode, Pro Video. It's just an excellent camera experience. So if you're buying this and you want, a flagship quality camera that's pretty much going to be on par with like the S24, and you can get this for cheaper, it's definitely a good deal. Alright guys, let's discuss battery life on the S23 Plus here. Battery life is excellent. Like I said, this phone has a pretty decent sized battery. It's a 4,700 milliamp hour battery. And because the chip is so efficient and you're not really getting overheating or anything like that, you rarely will have to think about battery life on this phone. It's actually really good. So it's got a 45 watt fast charging on here as well. So it charges decently fast. But yeah, so screen on time is going to be really good. It's not something I think you would really have to think about at all. Yeah, so you get the wireless charging, and you also get the reverse wireless charging as well too. So if you were wondering, well, how's the battery life, is even for a heavy user, this phone still does a pretty good job. So yeah, so this phone really it's a very interesting phone because there's a lot of phones on the market. So I'm going to be doing comparisons this week on this phone. It's a very interesting phone. You got the S23 FE, you got the S22 Plus. Is it worth the upgrade if you are on an S21 or whatever? So it's a very interesting phone, for around $500. So let me know what you guys think, and I will catch you guys in the next one.